the Philippines, the past didn't just echo, it won an election. When Ferdinand Marcos Jr. took the presidency in 2022, it wasn't just a personal victory. It was proof that a family name, once driven from power, had kept its value. The headline wasn't only about a candidate, it was about a legacy that never really left. To see how inherited influence still pays off, you have to start before Marcos Jr. was ever on a ballot. In the 1970s, his father ruled under martial law, and the family's reach seeped into every corner of government, business, media, and the provinces. Appointments, favors, and obligations stacked up into a web of loyalties that outlived the era that created them. The lesson is simple but heavy. Once a network is built into the state, it's hard to pull it out by the roots. When the Marcoses returned to the Philippines in the early 1990s, the comeback didn't start with fireworks. It started on familiar ground. Marcos Jr. went back to Ilocos Norte and reclaimed the everyday tools of local power, visiting barangays, tending to roads, handing out scholarships, showing up at wakes and fiestas. It's unglamorous work that outsiders underestimate, and it's precisely how a dynasty rethreads itself into daily life. The takeaway is that legacy isn't only a memory, it's a routine. By the late 1990s and 2000s, he was climbing again: governor, then congressman, then senator. Each rung on the ladder leaned on the same thing: name recognition backed by a living network. Think of political rallies where the crowd's first reaction is not curiosity, but recognition, and the first handshake already feels like a favor returned. In districts where the family brand had outlasted textbooks and turnover, a campaign wasn't a cold start, it was a continuation. By 2016, Marcos Jr. had come within touching distance of the vice presidency, and the message to his supporters was clear: we're almost back. Even in defeat, the campaign didn't fold. It preserved energy, contested results through legal channels, and kept narratives alive online and on the ground. You could see it in the way volunteers stayed active, local officials stayed courting, and voters in the North stayed locked in. The near miss wasn't a failure, it was a rehearsal. Then, 2022. The winning formula wasn't just a wave, it was an alliance. Marcos Jr. paired his family's revived brand with another powerhouse name, consolidating regional votes and welcoming a generation of younger Filipinos who knew more about the surname through social media than through lived memory. Imagine a TikTok-era campaign laid over a half-century-old political map. Upbeat music on top of old loyalties, glossy nostalgia layered over cracked roads that still got paved before Election Day. The result was a landslide built on new tools and old foundations. What about wealth today? Public disclosures and long-running litigations sketch a complicated picture. On one side, the government has recovered significant amounts over the years through court decisions, and compensation funds for martial law victims have been drawn from those recoveries. On the other, the family continues to contest cases and maintain assets not under forfeiture, while enjoying the practical advantages that come with high office and long-standing ties in business circles. The important point isn't any single balance sheet, it's how political and social capital can out-earn almost anything you can count. Seen in order, the arc isn't mysterious. A network seeded by a dictatorship survived exile, reactivated at the provincial level, climbed back through elective office, and leveraged modern media to turn nostalgia into votes. Along the way, courtrooms worked through the ledger of the past, while the ballot box wrote a new chapter. That coexistence, legal reckonings moving slowly while political momentum moves fast, is the engine of how legacies endure. Elections in the Philippines aren't just about winning office, they're about choosing the circle that will sit closest to the tap. Donors, old partners, rising firms that bet early on a campaign. Those people aren't looking for a brown envelope. They're looking for a chair at the table when the government sketches its priorities and writes the rules. If they're inside that room, the risks go down, the odds get better, and the calendar starts to work in their favor.